Hi again, guys, and I feel like it's fair to say that every single person in their life has been done dirty before. Like, these are the sort of scenarios you find yourself in that you will probably be having fake arguments with yourself in the shower about what you could have done differently. The revenge fantasy, the alternate timeline where you got your get back. And for those who aren't actually able to fulfill these things, there are subreddits that are very popular where people share their stories of when they were able to. The most popular of these that I'm aware of is r/pettyrevenge. Just very tiny day-to-day situations where people were menially slighted, but it left enough of an impact on them that they wanted to do something in retaliation for it. And there's like a number of sayings that go with this, and I think that the one that goes with this is, revenge is best served cold. Here's an example. I purposefully walked into a woman who wouldn't let me off the elevator. I'm staying in a hotel for a week for a work thing. There's this woman who I encountered when attempting to get out of the elevator. A woman decided to get in front of me in line. That's already enough for me to absolutely besmirch her for the rest of her days. She was either with her boyfriend or husband. I like the way that it's phrased there, like where you assume that these are two different people. I know she has both of these things, I just wasn't sure what she was with at the time. The elevator door opens, and she's right there, and she's just zooms in. I have to jump back to avoid being mowed over. Luckily, her partner waits for me to exit. That is proper elevator etiquette. You should always wait for the person who is already in the elevator to exit if they look like they have to. It's totally understandable, like if you're just like looking at your phone and you're about to walk in and you don't notice the person. I've done that before, and I always give like a tiny, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see it. Well, the next day, I'm leaving around the same time. The elevator doors open, and there she is. Without thinking, I'm like, not today! And with the same energy, I power walk out, shoulder checking her. Okay, I'm shorter than her, so it's more like I shoulder chest check her. Honestly, that would probably hurt more. But she stumbles and gives me a dirty look. I just smile and continue on. I saw her one more time in the lobby and just smiled at her in the face of her glare. This is like very standard petty revenge. You did something that was almost the exact same thing in return for what they did. An eye for an eye, Hammurabi would be proud. This fits right at home in this subreddit. So in this video, we'll be going through petty revenge specifically, and we'll be determining if these revenge stories are A, truthfully petty, and B, if the response was warranted. There are definitely crazier ones like pro-revenge, and I believe there's one called nuclear revenge. There's a lot of these, and if you guys want me to cover one of those, be sure to run up the likes on this one, and we'll be able to get back around to those. Also, be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you never miss an upload. My coworker kept stealing my pens, so I swapped them out. Ooh, very petty workplace drama. This is the type of shit I like to see. I used to leave a few pens on my desk, but they always seem to vanish. I feel like this is a thing that a lot of y'all are going to be able to relate to out there. It doesn't even necessarily have to be the workplace. It could be like an elementary school when the etiquette around these things wasn't even really established. I remember I had this bad habit of eating the erasers off my pencils. I probably told this story before. So like I'd have to borrow other people's pencils or at least the eraser tips from other people often. The thing is, I couldn't control myself, and I'd chew the erasers off the things being lent to me as well. It was pretty bad. Can you guess what I got diagnosed with later in my adult life? Anyways, let's see what this person's story is. At first, I thought maybe I was just being careless, but then I noticed one of my coworkers always had the exact same pens that I bought. Ooh, the circumstantial evidence is already mounting. Instead of calling him out, which, you know, maybe one-on-one that would have been the smarter thing to do, but then you wouldn't have been able to karma farm on Reddit, I decided to make things a little interesting. I think this next experiment is gonna be cast a reference. I bought a pack of disappearing ink pens. Oh, wait, actually, I like this way more. Dude, they always say communication is the best way to solve your issues. Sometimes I don't want to solve my issues. I just want to entertain myself. The issue's not big enough for me to actually take it seriously. I'm just going to fuck with you. And I left them in the usual spot. Sure enough, he borrowed one right before a meeting and started taking notes. He didn't even test it when he took it off the shelf. That's fucking dumb. My thing is, like, even if I was a serial pen thief, I'm at least gonna check to make sure I got one that still has ink in it, right? About halfway through, his notes began fading until the page looked blank. Oh, wait, so he wouldn't have been able to check for it. It looked like everything was in order until like 30 minutes later when it wasn't. He stared at it in total confusion while everyone else kept writing. I had to keep a straight face, but inside, I was dying of laughter. Needless to say, he never touched my pens again after that little incident, and my desk supplies have been safe ever since. That's the sort of thing where you just have to take the L on that because you got covertly caught, but the dude didn't call you out on it to your face, so you were able to save some of the reputation. You just had to deal with material consequences of missing all the notes you were meant to be taking in work that day, which, you know, has the potential to spiral into you being so far behind your job via domino effect that you lose it, in which case that might be disproportionate. But I think in the way it was described here, this was absolutely proportional. A-tier, D1 level petty revenge. I do approve. It completely fits here. I believe this was the top post of the last last month, and I think it earned that spot very, very cleanly. A family I know got revenge posthumously. This one has the potential to spiral into disproportionate very quickly. I know a family who had a difficult relationship with their mother. Yeah, who doesn't? She could be cruel with her words and frequently used favoritism to triangulate her children. What does triangulate mean in this context? Because I doubt it means to locate someone. Divide an area into triangles. Oh, it's probably to set them up against each other in like a triangle formula. She had a particular issue with girls. Oh man, that sucks. See, I'm like a real feminist and also really rich and have gigantic muscles and am 6 foot. When the main woman authority figure in their life is someone they don't feel like has their back, that's gotta be rough. Her 2 daughters often bore the brunt of her vitriol. This had lifelong impacts on them, their life choices and self-esteem. Meanwhile, their father was an incredible man. He was kind, funny, and a genuinely lovely human. I don't know how they ended up together either. Man, I wonder if that's one of those things where like they end up just staying together for the sake of the children. Like you don't divorce even though maybe you should in the long run without like the balancing force in your life. Was this posted by Chris Streamer talking about the Holiday family? 2 girls, dying father, and 1 boy, Chester Holiday. That is canon. When he died, their children made sure he was buried with a headstone highlighting their love. He was listed with a range of loving superlatives capturing who he was. However, when she died and it came time to edit the headstone on their double plot, the responsibility fell to her daughter. Therefore, the stone reads, names changed, "Here lies the mortal remains of Joe Bloggs, loving husband, devoted father, kind brother, and constant friend. Also married." Yes, this is a repost. The Pro Revenge mods deleted it. Damn. You know, I don't want to say that this belongs in Pro Revenge. It sounds like you have to be very diabolical and have to do like a lot of logistics, be considered a pro at revenge, so I can understand why you'd put this in petty. But subject matter wise, like fuck, that is going to be immortalized for people who don't know who your family was at all. Like that's the sort of thing you could see like a content farm account on Twitter caption, "Man, what did that mother do to her kids?" And then it gets circulated as like a reposted image on the internet for the next 2 decades. This is a true story. This is like something we could feasibly find out the actual people it happened to if somebody recognizes the story from this post when they're just visiting a local graveyard and somebody who they know who was buried there. I'm gonna say this fits in the petty revenge subreddit for now, and you know, fair enough level of get back considering like they didn't do anything to like besmirch their mom too harshly in their lifetime, at least not that I know of. But this has the potential to go down in history as like one of the longest lasting revenge plots to come out of one of these subreddits, depending on how much this circulates. High potential, but for now, it belongs here, I'll say. This one is one I'm gonna have a hard time being sympathetic to, so I'm gonna really need this person to make their case, because I hate it when people do this. I remember, like, when a Swiftie spoiled the ending of Endgame because the internet at large didn't like that one song she did with, what was it, Brendan Urie in 2019? I purposefully spoiled the end of a 14-book novel series because of rudeness. Ooh. I was in a fantasy book subreddit and said the name of a supporting character in a post. Oh, this wasn't to somebody you knew. This was just a rando online. I revealed nothing about this character except their name, and some rando told me I spoiled because now he knows the name of a future character. There are 2,000 named characters in this 14-book series, and I told him that I spoiled nothing with my post. I won't lie, I am kind of a snowflake when it comes to any form of spoilers. I like to go into media that I'm looking forward to about as blind as I possibly can. It's part of why, like, I play most things for the first time completely off stream these days, because, like, I'd be getting pissy at chat for really tiny things because I'm really sensitive about how I consume these things. But he began berating me and calling me names, insulting my intelligence. I did this a lot to my Twitch chat, I'm not gonna lie to you. So I spoiled the ending of the series. Since he doesn't know the name, I leaked he is obviously not even to the middle of the series. I sent him a DM so I didn't break the subreddit's rules and spoiled the whole thing. I told him who dies, how and why, how the big bad was defeated, what happened after the climax, and a few fan theories about the world after the story. I ruined months of reading for him, and I don't feel bad at all. Okay, this is very petty, I'll say that, and like, I wouldn't have gone this well out of my way for like some internet shit unless like I stood to monetize off of it. But this being effective revenge really depends on if this is the kind of guy to check his fucking Reddit DMs. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I don't touch that shit at all, but then again, I guess I don't really comment anywhere, so nobody would really be checking for me in case I did do something like that. This worked out even nicer than I thought. This opening is certainly a little concerning because I feel like you don't name proximity to a school for many reasons. You probably had a sinister one come to mind off the bat. I live 100 meters from a school, and usually I'm totally fine with that. Then you piss in public once and suddenly you're on a sex offender registry and I gotta move. Kidding. And usually I'm totally fine with that. No problems whatsoever. What drives me up the wall is, when school's out, grandparents sometimes park in front of my driveway okay? That's just a crime. You have more than full right to get mad at him for it. So I came home from work, and there was someone parked, still sitting in the car in front of the driveway. Now, I'm tired, had a bad day, kinda done with this BS. So I signal to the guy, please move. He gives me the standard, it's just 5 minutes to pick up the kids routine. So I cut off my engine, blocking the entire street. Like, yeah, it's one thing if you're already in your house at home and you don't need to go anywhere immediately, but if you're driving in your car trying to get back and some fucker tells me I'm only gonna sit in front of your driveway for 5 minutes, surely you can be kept away from getting home after a long day of work because I don't feel like finding a legal parking spot. I feel like this was totally a valid thing to be completely incensed by. People start honking until the traffic cop, who regulates the traffic in the start and end of school, comes over. He asks why I'm stopped and I answer, oh, it's no big deal. This guy is just parked in front of my driveway for 5 minutes to pick up his kids. The cop goes to the other guy and ends up giving him a ticket. I would have been happy with him just moving, but this turned out way better. I'm not gonna lie, you took a huge gamble on that, man. There was no guarantee that the cop was gonna be at all sympathetic to your situation and not just end up giving you a ticket, so it worked out nicely, but it had the potential to go haywire. It's more than I would have been willing to gamble on this. I would have just thrown a rock at the guy, maybe tried to kill him to death with hammers. That seems like an appropriate response for the situation. I changed my fiance's Tinder account. Oh, this one sounds like it's gonna lead to divorce. Well, it's exactly as it reads. I, 30 female, was engaged to my fiance, 32 male, until I wasn't. This doesn't seem too petty anymore, big dog. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like you might need to go up a tier to normal revenge stories. Maybe not pro-revenge, but let's hear what you have to say. 40 days before the wedding, I found out he was cheating. This does not feel petty. This feels like life-altering for what you were planning for the rest of your life to be. I had a dress, we had flights, it was a destination elopement. It was 40 days out. Anyway, he had a Tinder account and was telling women we were polyamorous if it came up. Oh my god, dude. This is why I think that truly poly people are just always gonna get the shit end of the stick. There are people in genuine loving poly relationships out there, I'm sure. I've never been in one, can't say I relate too strongly to it. There are people who genuinely do that and make sure everybody involved is consenting and on the same page, and then you have some fuckers like this who are using it as an excuse to cheat on their fucking fiancés. Well, before I fully called off the engagement, I went on his phone and changed the Twitter account. I don't care if it's petty or evil. We had 2 kids, a whole ass life. This doesn't feel petty. This feels almost like you were doing a little less than you would have been allowed to get away with in most people's eyes. I'm quoting you here. I'm emphasizing a whole ass life. So I changed the account, replaced his photos with mine, deleted his bio, and even paid the $8 fee so he could see how many likes were coming in. When he's seen it, he shits bricks. After maybe 6 hours, there were already thousands of likes, men trying to match me. Fuck, dude. You turned that shit right back on him. That's insane. Shortly after I made him leave, I owned the home, and canceled the entire wedding. Needless to say, I am doing much better these days. Holy fuck. That is crazy. I honestly think that belongs in a higher tier of revenge subreddit, man. You fucking sunned him. Okay, this one's a little longer than most of the ones we've been reading, but the title is just so vitriolic it makes me giggle, so I want to read it. My disrespectful leech of an internet addict brother shut his room door in my face while I was speaking, so I shut the internet off. I pay for the internet and he pays for nothing in our house. Okay, yeah, you get top say for that. He's 26 male and he has no job, doesn't go to school full time, and has an internet addiction. Man, that doesn't sound like anybody I know that's in this video, maybe speaking into the camera right now. YouTube doesn't count as a job, guys. Let's keep it a buck. To top it off, my single mother is sick of him saying he's going to graduate from his bachelor program in 3 years, which he's been saying for the past 4 years. He's taking a decade to do a 4-year program. He contributes nothing to this house. On top of that, he does not answer us when we call him for help or reply when we speak to him half the time. He makes excuses half the time not to eat with us, not to go anywhere with us, not to help us when we need help around the house. And worse than this, he speaks in a condescending manner to everyone around him because he uses psychopath to pretend he knows what he's talking about and act as if he's better than everyone and more knowledgeable. I'm sick of the condescending attitude. I was speaking to him and instead of answering me, he closed the door of his room. So I went into the app that controls the Wi-Fi and turned off the connections to his devices. He told mom and she started screaming at me about how she's losing it because her kids can't get along and if she wasn't there, we'd probably murder each other. So now he packed his shit up and left the house and we will be living with his friend or with my aunt who has always enabled him. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot going on here that I'm not gonna try and speak on too much. Fuck, man, I can think of any number of reasons for why things are like this in the house, but certainly petty, and I'm sure that it felt very vindicating to be able to see him fly off the handle when he just wasn't able to get his his internet anymore. You know, I think that ended in a funny enough way where we can leave this on a fun note. If you guys want to see me look at some of the crazier revenge stories, then please let me know in the comments. Be sure to run up them likes. And also be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you never miss an upload. The card I mentioned should be on screen. Anyways, this has been Kwite, and I'll see y'all next time.